don't know if you're here. I'm going to see if this works now. I don't know what just happened, but I just did almost a half an hour of a live stream with no sound. So I'm going to see if this actually works. Let me see if it makes any sound. There's no sound. Oh, good. It's on. Dan, this is a message to you. I saw everything you said about your house, your burst pipe, and I am terrifically sorry that happened to you. Really sorry. To those of you who came in and could not see, or well, could see but could not hear anything I said, I'll try to repeat it. Guy, that is really sad. I don't know what was wrong with my phone. I didn't change anything, and it apparently the sound is on now. If you can hear me, if you're in here, I do see one person in here, and you can hear me, please let me know, because you were not able to hear me before. So I'd love to know if you can. I apologize to everyone. I know I was not making any sound, and that was terrible. I was doing what I thought I could. I mean, I thought I was doing the right thing, but it turns out for some reason my microphone wasn't working. I don't know if it's because this morning Dave and I had to do some stuff with his phone. I had to call his phone, and we were on a call for an hour and a half. We're trying to drain the battery on his iPhone because it is stuck on Zoom. The screen is stuck on Zoom, and he can't do anything. So let me just check the sound again. His phone, and we were on a call for... Okay, good deal. We're here. Hi. I have a different angle now. Earlier, I had the angle pointing to my lap, and you could see that I was reading the Bible. I couldn't hear a doggone thing because I don't know why my microphone was off. I didn't change anything. All I did was open up a new live stream. So I hope some of the people come back. I'm going to be reading the book of Ruth. And I was almost, what was I? I was already to verse 16 when I realized Dan asked, is the microphone on? Like, oh my gosh, the microphone? Oh, the microphone was off the whole time. Did not know. Sorry, I'm back. So I'll just leave that one up there, and people can wonder, what in the world was she talking about? Well, I was talking about the book of Ruth. This is the Bible that I'm reading. Thank you for the thumbs up, whoever did that. I appreciate it. This is the Bible I'm reading from. It's actually got a cover. I made an old-fashioned brown paper bag cover on it and covered it with stickers. I had a really good time decorating this Bible, you guys. The reason I covered it partially was because it's a Celebrate Recovery Bible. And when people see Celebrate Recovery, they assume drug addiction and alcoholism. And that's not true for me. Celebrate Recovery is for people with maybe bad habits, but not addictions, I suppose. People with addictions and people with painful pasts or painful presents. I don't know. Mine was painful past. My issue, and the reason I went to Celebrate Recovery was because I had a very fun but toxic childhood. Is that the right term? Hey, you guys are here. No, Dan, no wind. I don't accept wind. Wind is evil. Wind will not happen unless it's a warm breeze. Now, I'm going to Florida in a few days, and I'm hoping for warm breezes, although I don't know that I'm going to get them. I'll be near Levy County on the west coast, and then I'll be over, I want to say near Ocala, but I could be wrong, on the east coast. I need to look at a map and know for sure. I'll be traveling all the way across the state of Florida, twice. We're dropping off a motorcycle, and then we're going over to a ministry meeting on the East Coast, and then we're driving back to the West Coast, and we're picking up the motorcycle that we had dropped off. It's going to have a new engine. It's a gorgeous motorcycle. I've ridden that thing all over. I love that bike. I love that bike. I don't know that I'll ever ride it again, but I love that bike. I put 3,500 miles on it on one trip. That was an awesome trip. I saw the word ministry. Mossad hater. Yes, ministry. I'm a Christian. My husband and I do Christian ministry, And we are going, oh no, I didn't put my bookmark in. I closed my Bible. Gotta find Ruth. Okay, Ruth, where you be hiding? Yes, indeed. Ocala, yeah, that's the air. I think that's where we're going to be, but I'm not positive. It's not a bad place. I guess there are places in, come on. I'm not real familiar with where all of the books of the Bible are. I used to know a lot more than I do now. It's been a long time since I've been to a Bible study. I haven't been to one since, well, since I realized I'm allergic to perfume. Can't go to Bible study. Can't go to Bible study. Women and men, they wear a lot of perfumes. I'm so glad the microphone is working. Okay, so this is a Celebrate Recovery Bible, and it has little notations, like right there it says 1, 2, 3, and apparently this verse here, verse 6, is helpful for steps 1, 2, and 3 in the Celebrate Recovery program. I did go through the Celebrate Recovery program 2 years ago, I think, and I suppose it was supposed to help, but it really didn't. I mean, it probably could have helped more if the cause of a lot of my emotional pain was totally in my past. I don't know. A lot of times I run from toxic people, but there are some people in my life that I can't run from 100%. And it just, due to situations and all. So sometimes I just have to, anyway, it didn't really help me all that much is what I'm trying to say. I believe it helps people with true substance addictions. I really do believe it helps. There are a lot of people that go to Celebrate Recovery religiously, if I can use that term, and they get a lot out of it. So that's good. That's very good. Hey, Riley. Hello, Tina. I hope you guys weren't in the other one. Mossad hater, no, I won't be making you a sandwich. I do have some toast here, but I won't be eating it on camera. It's going to be so cold and yucky by the time I finish this. It's not even funny. Where's my little disciple? Oh, Vicky was begging from me the whole time I was on the other live stream. So I apologize for the previous live stream. The sound was, but I'm going to be reading now in the book of Ruth, and I'll probably just get through Ruth 1 because I'm behind. I'm behind schedule. I'm a half hour behind. Anyway, if you're in a situation where you feel like you want a recovery Bible, and I don't even know why, recovery Bible. At the beginning of every chapter, there's a little story, and it gives you kind of an idea of, oh, it's all backwards, darn it, an idea of what to expect. This one here has the theme of Ruth, the author of Ruth. It's unknown. Jewish tradition holds that the prophet Samuel wrote Ruth, but there's really no evidence to support that. The date of writing is somewhere perhaps between 1375 and 1050 BC, but it was most likely written after 1000 BC. Okay. Encouragement from Ruth. Okay, there's that. Reflections from Ruth. And there we go. So that's kind of how each chapter is. Ruth is such a small chapter that there's not a whole lot of opportunity to put a whole lot of stuff in it. But some of the bigger chapters have whole stories, and they'll have a person from Celebrate Recovery who wrote their testimony in one of the chapters. So I'll try to find a testimony before we get into Ruth from someone who went through the program. Goodness gracious, are they not in here? I think they're in here. Try to find one. I always find them. Come on, you guys, where are they? Maybe they're mostly in the New Testament. Christians tend to spend a lot of time in the New Testament. I don't know. Okay. Hey, Nas. Hey, Logan. Good to see you. Yeah, I have coffee, but it's cold. It's cold. It's my third cup, maybe 3.5 cups. Doggone it, you guys. They have stories in here. Oh, here we go. Confess lesson. Oh my goodness. I guess I had to do this. I went through their 8 or 9 month program at Celebrate Recovery, and I got a certificate, and they spelled my name wrong. They always do. How hard is Mel to spell? I don't know. Okay, confess lesson. there are different principles in Celebrate Recovery that you go through, and the C is for confess. Confess your shortcomings, resentments, and sins. And that's what I need to do on a regular basis, because I definitely have, more than anything, I have a lot of resentments. I have a lot of resentments, and I need to get over those. I definitely do not go out every day planning on having resentments, but they do kind of hit me sometimes. And the same with sins. Sometimes I don't overtly sin, but I suppose I have to believe the scriptures, and the scriptures tell us that if we say we are without sin, we are definitely lost. So I know I've got sins. I try not to, and I don't feed them. I'm sure they're there. And confess your shortcomings. Yeah, I've got shortcomings. I can have a short temper at times, for real. If you push me, if you push that last button, you're going to see a version of me most people don't see. I have a lot of buttons, but if you're like riding those buttons on a daily basis, there's a chance I'm going to snap. It just depends. But I don't get it. I don't get violent. I'm capable of it, but I don't want to get violent. That's yucky. Okay, so we're going to talk about Naomi. And I do not pronounce these names very well, you guys. I have a hard time with some of these words, some of these names. So I can't, there are some I'm going to butcher, and I apologize ahead of time. Tina, I drink decaffeinated coffee, but there's caffeine in it because it's from a pod that Dave will brew his cup of coffee, full caffeine. He's a caffeine addicted person. Like if he went off caffeine 100%, he would have a massive headache for days. Hello again, Logan. You got stitches. I'm sorry. I hope the stitches work. I like to pull out stitches. I almost pulled out my staples after my last abdominal surgery. I was looking on Amazon for a staple remover. I was so fed up. And Dave's like, don't do it. Don't do it. I did take out 2. They were kind of wobbly and they were getting hung up on my clothes. They weren't really latched on real good. I had, oh God, I don't want to exaggerate it, but I had something like 30 staples up my stomach. There goes my bikini modeling career. At 62 years old, I had to stop bikini modeling. The world thanked me. They paid me to stop bikini modeling at 62. Just kidding. Nobody paid me. Okay, I know there are creepy people out there that would like that, huh? Well, I don't want to meet those people. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. Now, this would have been the land of Judah. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. Dave is at church right now. I don't go to church for the same reason I don't go to Bible study. I can't be around perfume, air fresheners, cologne, fabric softeners. Like if you dry your clothes in the dryer and then you have a scented fabric softener and it's on your clothes, I can't be around you. I can't be around people with real strong shampoo, but with a strong fragrance in the shampoo or conditioner. I mean, I'm ready to go live in a cave, y'all. I want to get away from these people with all their fancy smells. So they went to live for a little while in Moab. So they were, I would say, refugees. The man's name was Elimelech. I did pretty well, I think. Elimelech? Elimelech. I don't know. And his wife's name was Naomi. And the names of their 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. They were Ephrathites, maybe? From Bethlehem, of course, Judah. And they went to Moab and lived there. Now, these are very tribal people. These are very much into their own culture and not other cultures. So a lot of the stuff in this chapter is odd behavior. And it wasn't sanctioned by God. He told the Israelites to stay separate. Anyway, now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women. That's one of the things they weren't supposed to do. One named Orpah and the other, Ruth. And now Oprah used to tell the story that she was supposed to be named after Orpah in the Bible, but the person who filled out the birth certificate misspelled it, so it's Oprah. That's the story she used to tell. I don't know if she still tells that story. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died. And Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. Now that's odd, because her home is Jerusalem, but the girls' home is right there in Moab. That's interesting. By the way, I have no Bible training beyond decades and decades of Bible study, Bible reading. I used to teach Sunday school. I was a children's choir director. I've written multiple full-length musical stage plays for the church. I've been a Sunday school teacher, but I don't have any theological training. I just read the Bible and listen to a lot of sermons and do Bible studies. So you're not listening to a trained Bible person. Probably one of the reasons I can't pronounce a lot of these names in here. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Now that would be odd for the girls to return or to go to Judah with her, because they would be foreigners in Judah and they would not be well received, I wouldn't think. Just because. The Israelites were supposed to be separate from the people around them. I have a great-grandfather who was very Jewish, and he married a Gentile. And when he married her, his father cut his collar and put ashes on his head and said, "I no longer have a son." And he mourned the loss of his son. My great-grandfather married a hoochie mama. My great-grandma was a wild woman. And I have a feeling great-grandpa was a wild man. And that's why he met her, why he fell in love with her, and why he married her. And she ultimately destroyed him. But anyway, his family cut him out because he married outside of the Jewish faith. It's been going on for centuries, my friends, for centuries. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." So there she's kind of blessing them with her words, like, go home to your mom. Let your mom take you in, take care of you, and maybe you'll find another husband. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." That's pretty amazing for the time. That was pretty amazing. But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands?" That was a thing back then. If you had multiple sons and one of your sons married and he died, his wife would marry one of your other sons, one of your unwed sons. That was a thing. That could be a thing. And if your other son was 6, she would wait until he was old enough to marry, and then he would marry her. That was like, you're going to marry your sister-in-law. She will be your wife. This is how we keep the family together. This is how we keep the crops, the fields, the house, the whole thing. This is how we keep it all together. We just keep doing this. "Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up?" In some cases, yes, they would. "Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." And that's really sad. Hey, G-Man. I have read some of the Quran. I have not read the Talmud, no. But I have read some of the Quran. I specifically look in the Quran for mentions of Jesus, and I found plenty of mentions of Jesus, and that he was truly the Son of God and worth following. Now, the Quran has changed over the decades, over the centuries, and it became more of a war book. But back in the day when it was first written, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, but at puberty, but can you imagine? Like you're 38 and you're marrying a 16-year-old? That's creepy. He'd be thrilled, I guess. Let's see. So she felt like the Lord's hand had turned against her, which is really sad. Life happens, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe there was a virus going through Moab and people were dropping like flies. Maybe that's why the girls didn't want to return to their mothers. Maybe their families had been decimated by some kind of a virus. I don't know. Maybe COVID was happening back then. Can I say the C word on here? I don't know what the situation was exactly, but Naomi felt like the Lord's hand had been turned against her, which is really sad. I mean, life happens, right? So that's sad. I'm glad we don't have to worry about that anymore. At this, they wept aloud again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. So there must have been some thoughts going on in Orpah's head where she was thinking, well, maybe I should go back to my family. Maybe I could go back to my family. Maybe there is someone back there that I could, marry and live out my life. Look, said Naomi, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her. So the Moabite people worshipped multiple gods, lowercase g. That's one of the reasons the Jewish people were not supposed to marry into these foreign tribes, because they did not worship the one true God with an uppercase G. So this would have been a problem. I don't think it's a reason for God to turn his hand against Naomi, but you know what? God's plans, man, sometimes he has plans much bigger than our own. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. I wonder if Ruth was cast out of her family and for marrying a Jewish man, and ended up taking on the Jewish customs and traditions and had become more like a Jewish person, having been in the home of Naomi and her sons for the 10 years that she would have been or so, maybe not 10 full years. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. So the two women went on until they came to Bethlehem. That had to be a good sight for Naomi. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them, and the women exclaimed, can this be Naomi? They'd been gone for 10 years. And Naomi had been through a lot in those 10 years. Don't call me Naomi, she told them. Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me. That's sad. I forget what Naomi means. I believe in Japanese, I think it means beautiful and, am I remembering it right? Sturdy or something like that? I don't know. It's not a bad thing. The name Naomi is not a bad thing at all. It's a beautiful thing. But Mara, that means bitterness. Yeah, Mara is bitter. I know a Mara who's very bitter. So Naomi returned from Moab, accompanied by Ruth, the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest was beginning. And that is the end of chapter 1. This refugee, Naomi, has returned home with nothing but whatever she and her daughter-in-law could take with them. I'm not sure what that looked like, if they had a camel, a donkey, a cart. I don't know what that looked like, but she did have a home to return to, so that's good. Obviously, she had some family. I don't know what Bethlehem looked like. The famine would have affected everybody, and people would have gone scattered. And then the people that came back, maybe not as many came back. Like for Naomi, she left with her husband and her 2 sons, and she came back with a foreign daughter-in-law. So I don't know what the population looked like in Bethlehem at the time. I'm sure historians have ideas about what that looked like. It doesn't sound like it was scary for her to return. It sounds like it was kind of bittersweet. She sounded like she was really in love with her husband, Elimelech. Just want to say that because I'm so proud of myself for not getting tongue-tied. Obviously, she still misses her sons. She had to bury them in a foreign land. I mean, that's all terrible stuff for her. So that is book 1 from Ruth. And trust me, things are going to get better. Things are going to get better for Naomi. She won't be sad forever, my friends. I've got to find a bookmark in here and put it in there. I don't know if I'll be reading chapter 2 next week because I'll be going to house church next week. Hopefully there won't be a bunch of perfume in the room. I have such a hard time with perfume. I hate it. It's horrible. It really, it vexes me. It definitely gets to me. Makes it so hard to breathe. Thank you for the 6 people who gave me a thumbs up. I just refreshed my page. 4 people still watching. That's awesome. Thank you for hanging out in here. So that is Ruth chapter 1, and there are multiple chapters. It's not a big book. I should have started out with, what is it, 4 or 5 chapters? 4 chapters. It ends on a very good note, you guys. No worries there. It's kind of a sexy book, actually. If you feel like reading it on your own, go for it. It's a short book. It's not like it takes too long to read. I've read it. I'll probably read it again today, and I'll read it again next time I pick up this Bible. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I can't say I'll do this next Sunday just because I'll be going to a house church. I prefer house church to big Christian churches these days. I don't feel like the Christian church in the United States anyway has really evolved in a positive way. I feel like the Christian church here has evolved in a very unhealthy way. And I don't mean any specific church or denomination. But if you go to a house church and you're sitting around and just reading the word, to me, that's more uplifting. That's more personal and closer to the Lord than listening to a man in a pulpit, even in a small church, give you his opinion. I'd rather sit in a room more like a Bible study and have discussion about the Bible, which is very much first century Christians. They had the apostles and they taught the word and they taught about Christ, and there was discussion and there were questions. And the word Berean comes from some of those early Christians because they questioned what these people, what these men were teaching them. And that's healthy. I like that. Hey, Roy. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I need to do more Bible reading. So I'm going to do it here because I can't go to Bible study and I can't go to church. And it's, like I say, it's very frustrating. Very limiting as far as my spiritual growth goes. I'll try to go to some Celebrate Recovery meetings. There's a church right over there, it's a couple blocks away from me, that does Celebrate Recovery. And if there aren't too many perfumes and colognes in the room, I can go to that. Sometimes if the building is big enough, I can sit far enough away from people that it doesn't affect me. In our little church, I just can't go. The way the room is set up, it pulls, there's the HVAC is behind where I sit, and it pulls air in, and it pulls all of the perfume from the women sitting in front of me back. I sit way toward the back of the church to try to get away from it. But the way the HVAC system is set up, it pulls the smell toward me. And my husband notices it when he's in church. And he says, yeah, it was bad today. He'll come home and say, oh, it was bad today. I'm like, yeah, I get it. That's why I don't go to church anymore. I can't. Hello. Am I me? Hi, me das. Thank you for saying hello. Yes, absolutely. Love Jesus Christ, God himself. The Lord saved me from what would have been horror, just would have been horror. I I was talking to one of my cousins a few days ago, and we both marvel at how we came out of the family that we came out of with a saving faith in Christ. It's a miracle. It's a real miracle in our family. I think she was at a more of a deficit than I was, because my family pretended to be good Christians once or twice a year. Whenever my great grandparents were in town, we had to go to church. We went to the Methodist church because my great grandpa was a Methodist preacher. So everyone below him was supposed to go to the Methodist church. And some of the kids did, but my dad didn't, unless my great grandpa was in town. Then he honored his grandpa, and we all went to church. And my great grandma thought me and my brother were slow in the head. Hey, Nana Stacks, good to see you again. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Thank you for commenting. That's awesome. So my grandma thought we were dumb because we didn't know the hymns. We had to read the hymn book, and we didn't know the hymns. Like, I didn't know the music. I didn't know the scales. I didn't know anything. I'm just standing there, 7-year-old me, 8-year-old me, 9-year-old me, reading out of a book that I have no idea what it is, because I only saw it once a year or twice a year. I think my parents took us there on Easter Sunday, whether my great-grandparents were in town or not. We went to church on Easter Sunday. We were, what do they call them? Creaster Christians, Christmas and Easter. We would go Christmas Eve, and then we would go Easter Sunday morning. And then my parents started going to the sunrise service on Easter Sunday, and that's when I revolted, because I'm a very cold person. I have something I did not realize till I was in my 40s. It's called Raynaud's syndrome, where my body shuts down if it's too cold. So to wear a spring dress to the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, for sunrise service, and stand there freezing, my lips chattering, my teeth chattering, my lips turning blue, my fingers would stop working, my feet would freeze. I mean, I was just so cold. All I could wear was this little spring dress. And the Pacific Ocean in Central California is not a happy place to be in most mornings. It's foggy and cold, and it might be 60 degrees at sunrise, might be 55 degrees at sunrise, with a real strong breeze blowing in off the ocean. My body would shut down, and I would be in literal physical pain for hours during the service and then on the way home after the service. And it just wasn't worth it for me. So by the time I was about 10, I think I had a big enough tantrum that I didn't have to go to church Sunday morning. It didn't make any sense to me. I was going to church twice a year. I literally thought Jesus was born in December and died a full-grown man at Easter, and I could not reconcile in my head how that happened. I was like so confused. We had a neighbor for a while. She was my best friend for like 3 years. She lived across the street from us, and they went to the Methodist church. And I know they used to take me to Sunday school. So I probably heard the message as a little girl, 10, 11, 12 years old. I think that's when Nancy lived across the street from me. Oh, by the way, pray for Nancy Guthrie, you guys. Pray for the whole Guthrie family. This thing is just horrible. Anyway, my girlfriend Nancy, I may have heard the salvation message. I may have prayed as a child. I don't remember. But I think Nancy moved across the street when I was 10. So 10, 11, 12, maybe. Might have been 9. Anyway, I did go to Sunday school quite a bit. And I remember coloring the little pieces of paper with the pictures of Jesus and stuff on them. So I did get some Christian teaching. My cousin, she got nothing. Her mom and dad, while they were married, never once went to church. Not once. Her mom did marry a Christian later on, and she started going to church when she was a little bit older. So maybe that's where she got saved, and she just doesn't remember it. I went to her baptism when she was like in her 40s. It was so awesome. No one from the family except me went there. I'm sad that her mom didn't go watch that. That was cool. Anyway, she and I got out. One of my families, they went to church. I don't know what church they went to, but that uncle was a predator. And his 4 children grew up very messed up. 2 girls, 2 boys. Out of those 4, I would say one of them is a strong Christian, and she was somehow saved. She went to church every Sunday, probably, pretty much, I think, with her parents. But her dad was a child predator. He was a horrible, horrible person. And I remember going to visit him in the hospital. He had congestive heart failure. And the Lord was just prompting me, you got to go talk to your uncle. I'm like, I don't even want to see the man. I don't want to think about him. He's creepy. I don't want to have anything to do with him. And the Lord just prompted, go make sure he's saved. You have to go talk to your uncle. Like, oh, so I went to the hospital. I talked to my uncle. And I asked him, are you saved? And he said, I am saved. He says, I have not lived a good life, but I'm saved. Okay. Well, he lived for quite a few years after that, but he was not someone you would want to leave your children with, that's for sure. And then my other uncle, the one that the cousin I'm telling you about, you're at Home Depot, copper pipes. Oh, goodness. Oh, Dan, I'm so sorry you're going through that. $85, that sucks. That sucks. That's $85. Dang, man. You know, for those of you who don't know that are in the chat, Dan got home from work this morning to a burst pipe in his basement. Right, Dan? He's been dealing with that for a few hours, about 4 hours now, I would think. $85. Oh gosh. That's too bad. So the cousin I was talking to, her dad was also a predator. I don't think she was a victim of his, but he preyed on high school girls. And I found that out from a friend of mine after we graduated from high school. And I went to a meeting for Adult Children of Alcoholics, which is kind of a sister organization to Alcoholics Anonymous. And it's for those of us who grew up with alcoholic parents. Here's to alcoholic parents. Clink. You raised some messed up kids. But there was a lot of laughter and a lot of creepy stuff. So that cousin, her dad's creeping didn't happen to her. By the time he was creeping, she was already living with some friends. A wonderful family, wonderful Christian family took her in as a young teenager, and she lived with them. And that was cool. They were cool people, man. I would have loved to have lived with them. I just didn't know their daughters to be friends with them. They were amazing. She was so blessed to be living with them. Oh, gosh. No, never turn heat off, my friend. That's why I worry about the house across the street that's vacant. The snow collects on the roof and never melts. I know what that means. I hope when they turned off the gas and the electric, they also turned off the water to that house, because I told Dave, let's listen for the hissing sound of water, the spraying sound, and keep our eye over there, kind of keep our eye on it, because if the water's turned on, I'm pretty sure there's no heat, because like I said, it's an 100-plus-year-old house with barely any insulation. The snow doesn't stay on the roof of that house when there's a heater on inside. And the snow's been staying on the roof of that house. It's been vacant since, I think, the end of November. If they turned everything off and not the water, they are going to be sorry, very sorry. Maybe it'll be a tear down instead of just a rehab house. The whole house needs to be worked on. But anyway, that cousin, she got out. She's good. My brother became a Christian as a young teenager. He had a traumatic brain injury when he was 12. I was 10. He got hit by a car. He was in a coma for 28 days. And then he started kind of as an infant and went from infancy to like toddler to learning how to talk again. Now he functions. He looks like a normal 65-year-old man. He just turned 65. He's not. His brain, he's about 14. He is married. She has very strict parameters on his life. He's the kind of guy who could get busted in a sting. He's 14 mentally, but he's 65. Think about the trouble that a 14-year-old could get into in the body of a 65-year-old man. He could go to prison for a long, long time. So that's my bro. He became a Christian after his crash. And so I've got my one cousin from my uncle that preyed on children, then my one cousin from my uncle that preyed on teenagers, and my brother and me. And there are just as many that are either atheists or just living the worst life possible and damaging as many people as possible. In this group here, let me think. Yeah, there are 4. There are some very damaging people in here. Some, at least one is on the registry for children. And three of the 4 have been to prison. And one of them, I don't know, but she struggles a lot. So I don't think she's been to prison though. She's been a good mom to her daughter, but she has struggled a lot. Oh, Dan, that's a tough one. Like with my brother, what I noticed when my girls were little was he did not have boundaries. He never did anything dangerous in front of me. But with toddler girls crawling on you and jumping around and playing, his play was, it never got to inappropriate, but it raised some red flags. And I had a pact with their dad when we separated and divorced that he would never let my brother babysit the girls because I didn't trust him. He never showed me any reason why I shouldn't trust him. But he's 14 and the doctor diagnosed him as 14, right? Okay. Said he will not mature past 14. Maybe he did. Maybe he's 16 now. I don't know, but he's 65. But as a person in his 20s, and he wasn't, there just was something missing. He didn't know. So then I found out when my brother got married, that my ex-husband was letting the 2 of them watch the girls. And I said, no, that was our deal. You wouldn't. He goes, well, but he's married. I said, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You don't leave the girls with him. He's not, no, even if she's home, no. In fact, she's a very dangerous person. They tried to adopt a child. Thankfully, they did not pass the adoption process. Thankfully, that would have been a tragedy. It's tough. It's tough because I see some of these programs where they do these stings where they catch these guys online, right? And because they've been talking to someone they think is 13 or 14, turns out they're talking to a 40-something-year-old. I used to be a volunteer in an organization, and that's what we did. We searched for people, and we pretended to be something we weren't. Now, I never got the full training for that. I did some other stuff instead, but that was the organization. We looked for people. My brother would fall into that, I think. So he's not allowed to have access to the internet. He has a flip phone, and he's not allowed to have access to the internet. I don't know that he ever got into anything, but I know that my sister-in-law knows enough about him to not trust him on the World Wide Web, so he doesn't go there. Generational, yes, Roy. We have a lot of generational sin in my family, and it goes back to my great-grandmother. I told earlier in the live stream, I was talking about my great-grandpa who was Jewish, and he was from a very, I don't know if it was Orthodox Jew, but they were pretty strict Jew. And when he married a Gentile floozy, he was cut off from his family. That woman he married was a traveling, like a snake oil salesperson. She traveled with a coach of some sort, a horse-drawn coach, and she would go from town to town selling her elixirs, which were mostly booze, which I tell you what, I had some booze one day not too long ago. I live streamed it. I was sipping whiskey at the Axe Handle Distillery in Virginia, near the Continental Divide. No, Cumberland Gap. Got my 2 things. Near Cumberland Gap, We were at a distillery, and just 2 little sips and it cleared up my asthma. I was like, wow, maybe my great grandma wasn't ripping people off. But she sold that stuff. She also was a tarot card reader. She may have been a gypsy. And I believe she may have prayed spirit guides onto my mom and maybe even onto her own 2 children. My great grandma's children were my grandpa and my great aunt. My great aunt went on to be a prostitute and a madam and lived a very fun life full of sin. My grandfather was alcoholic. He was into pornography. He was at least verbally abusive. He used to take my mom to church in the morning. He took her to a Presbyterian church on Sunday morning. My grandma was all for it. She's like, sure, take her to church. That's great. So she'd go to Sunday school at the Presbyterian church, and he'd walk across the street and start drinking. So he'd go across the street to the bar and drink. And then when Sunday school was over, my mom would cross the street and go sit in the bar next to her dad while he was getting drunk. And drunk men would walk up to my mom and play with her hair and tell her how beautiful her hair was. She had red hair, long red hair. And they would pet her as a little girl. My grandpa would allow this behavior in the bar. These men, these drunk men, petting my mom's hair. And then he would drive her home, drunk off his butt, drive her home after going to Sunday school. I don't know how my grandma let that happen, but she let it happen for a really long time. So the sins of the father will be passed down to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate him being God. My grandfather hated God, absolutely hated him. Yes, Dan. Yes. I have asthma. Bad asthma. That's why I don't go to church. I can't be around perfume. So my grandfather had his addictions to pornography and alcohol, and he was also a very cruel, cruel person. I don't remember him being happy. Other people remember him being happy. He was jovial when he was at work. He had a business, and people came to him. Mostly men were his customers. And he had a tailor shop that became a clothing store back when tailors kind of went away. It was a family business. And my cousin doesn't remember him ever smiling or being happy. She remembers him being terrifying to her, treated her very poorly. So the sins that have been passed down to my mom and to me and to my children are addiction and debauchery. So we have to guard ourselves against both. So I don't drink a lot of alcohol, guys. I sip a little whiskey when I want my asthma to clear up. Yes, indeed. But not a lot else. I will have a little now and then. My mom doesn't know where I came from because I can just have a single drink and not be, continuing. If I were ever pulled over and the officer asked me, when was the last time you had a drink? I would have to, 3 weeks ago on a Monday, so 3 weeks ago tomorrow, I took 2 sips of whiskey at the Cumberland Gap adjacent distillery. 2 sips. I didn't even do the whole thing. Then they're in these little, the little plastic cups, communion. They're in the little plastic communion cups, these little shots. It's so funny. I could only take 2, maybe 3 sips. I don't remember. If you saw the live stream, you saw me trying to drink it. Well, Dave bought a bottle, and I think he's had some. It's downstairs in the basement. I think he sits down there and sips a little whiskey here and there. Not a lot. We're not drinkers. We're not alcoholics. We're not even teetering toward the edge of alcoholism. And I've warned all 3 of my girls, be careful with alcohol. That's one of the sins that is passed down. You don't even have to believe in generational sin and the curse for it to be true. So I believe when I became a Christian at 18 years old, I believe the Holy Spirit helped to protect me from that craziness. But my daughters need to protect themselves too. And I hope that they do. And I've warned them. I've warned them plenty of times. And I had a counselor warn me when I was in my early 20s. She said, you can drink a little bit now, but because of your family history, and she wasn't talking about generational curses or sins, she was just talking about inherited things and also learned behavior. She said, by the time you get to your 40s, you could be a full blown alcoholic if you don't watch it. So in my early 20s, I started watching it. I definitely started watching it. Now, there are times when I get confused and I think, oh, I really want to sleep well tonight. I'll have a shot of whiskey or something, thinking that's going to help me sleep, and it never helps me sleep. So I'm over that. I'm done with that. Alcohol doesn't help me sleep at all. I don't know why they put it in the original, NyQuil. They put alcohol in it. I don't think it ever helped anybody sleep. $50 proof cachaça, 50 proof. Yeah, I'll be making some vanilla extract this year, so I'm probably going to buy a bottle of vodka. I think I'll get the highest proof possible because I also want to make some elixirs for pain relief with wild lettuce. And I'm not talking wacky tobacco, I'm talking wild lettuce. It's different. It's like the original morphine kind of, and I made some last year. I didn't turn it into an elixir. I just used it as a tea. Sorry, I'm kind of burping up a little bit of my coffee. I used it as a tea last year, and it made me feel a little bit wobbly, a little bit lightheaded, and I think I could have slept just fine with it. But I made it for Dave because he's in pain all the time. You look at my husband in some of my videos and you think, oh, that guy's great. When mixed with coffee, gives you a pep in your step. Oh my goodness, Dan. It would make me trip and fall. You can see Dave, and he looks like he's pretty, well put together and all that. When you add up all of his injuries over the decades, he's probably at this point, and the reason I know about the injuries is because he was a workers' comp. He had a very physical job when he worked for the state of California. He worked on the highways, and when you work on the highways, things happen. You're working outside. There's all hazards everywhere. It's an OSHA nightmare. And he worked in that for more than 20 years before they finally retired him due to all of the problems that he had, physical problems he had had. He's had multiple surgeries. About 15 years ago, when all of his injuries were added up, and we're not just talking work injuries, other injuries as well. He was at 100 and I think 19% disabled when you added up all of his injuries. And that's what workers' comp does. They add up your injuries to determine, the settlement, which he never did get a settlement. But he's probably closer to 130 or 140 now as he's gotten older because both of his shoulders need to be replaced. He's got a wrist. His left wrist has been fused, and it has a metal bar in it. And his knees need to be replaced, and he's got problems with his hips from a motorcycle crash. An old lady T-boned him. He's got a lot of problems physically. He's in pain all of the time, and he doesn't have narcotic pain medication. Hey, Donald. Hello. Thank you for saying hi. So when you look at my husband, you think he's in great shape. He's in pain all of the time. Like, he cries out in pain in the night while he's sleeping, just trying to roll over. His knees are really bad right now. So I did the wild lettuce for him, and he didn't even want to try it. So I just threw it away. But I'll make some this year, and I'll make some elixir. There's a way you can extract it using alcohol or vinegar. And I'm going to do it with alcohol. I'll do it with vodka. I haven't been into a liquor store since I've been in Tennessee. 4.5 years, almost really close to 5 years in Tennessee. But I need to go into a liquor store and learn how to buy liquor in Tennessee. I need to buy some vodka. I need the good stuff too. And I'll make some elixir, and I'll make some vanilla extract and whatever all else I can make with it. I don't know. I don't want a big bottle. I don't think I need a big bottle. I've got little amber colored or brown glass jars with the droppers, the screw-on lid with the droppers, And I'm going to make him some elixir with that. And hopefully that'll be good. And I'll just drink the tea. If I'm just, you know, walking straight and I want to walk crooked, I'll just make myself a cup of tea. Weaving through the house. It's actually good stuff. If you can find wild lettuce, true wild lettuce, not sow thistle, but true wild lettuce, and you pick it, I think, right before the flowers open up. I don't think it really matters if they open up. It's not a bad thing, but most people say do it right before the flowers open up. Their little yellow flowers are about that big, and they have dozens of them all over the plant. The plants get to be 6-7 feet tall. They grow on the ranch. They're a non-native invasive that were brought over from Europe by the settlers because they understood the importance of wild lettuce, because when they had a headache or they were too sober, they would, make their wild lettuce elixir. It helped a lot. And I don't know, man, if you were living in the country, you had a hard life. And at the end of the day, you were pretty darn tired. So I'll be making some of that this year with some of the vodka that I purchased. I don't like to drink vodka. I used to make a vodka cranberry drink sometimes, and I would drink that in the evening. Or grapefruit juice. What's that? Collins. Vodka Collins? Something like that with grapefruit juice, but I'm allergic to citrus now. Why? Why citrus? I love citrus. So I can't drink that anymore. I used to like that a lot. Thankfully, I'm not allergic to cranberries. Love cranberry juice. Also pomegranates. We have pomegranate bushes at the ranch. I'm hoping that they bloom this year. They haven't bloomed yet. They've been in the ground for going on 4 years. They have not bloomed yet. I want some fruit, you guys. I'm tired of it. I always had pomegranates before. Vanilla extract. Dan, you can get, no, it's True Beans. You can get them on Amazon. Let me take a look. Let me look that up for you because I saw them online. I've talked to other people who buy them and make it, and they said I'm pretty sure they got them on Amazon. And they're the real deal. You can tell just by looking at them. Yep, vanilla beans. You can get organic Madagascar vanilla beans, a packet of 26 of them for $17.99. 50 organic grade Madagascar, grade A Madagascar for $37.99. I don't need 50. 25 for $14.45, and I don't know where those come from. More Madagascar. And then some people sell homemade vanilla extract on Amazon as well. So, bulk. Holy cow, if you want to make a ton, there's a sale. These don't look as perfect as the other ones. How much is it? Free shipping. What? A half a pound for $48? That's a lot. A pound for $85? Or you can get 15% off if you click and get the coupon emailed to you. Wow, loose cut vanilla beans. I don't know that I like that, you guys. I think I want the other ones. Oh, you can get 200 pounds for $15,600. Oh my goodness, they're selling it by the ounce at that point. It's $4.87 an ounce. Wow. I do not need that many. I'm not going into the business, y'all. Not going into business. But I did like the original ones. I liked 26 organic. That'll give me more vanilla than I need for 10 years. I'll probably give it away as Christmas presents. How much is it? What's the weight? It doesn't say. Item details, maybe it's there. No. It looks like it weighs more than, I guess they're smaller than they look. I don't know, you guys. 26. Extract exclusive grade. What does that mean? Extract exclusive. I gotta look this up, see what people are doing with them. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'll get them. I'll get them on on Amazon, have them shipped directly to me. And if I want to order some of them, I can get them by Friday, February 13th. Ooh, Friday the 13th. I'm not a suspicious person, so it doesn't really bother me, but it bothers a lot of people. You know, a lot of hotels don't have a 13th floor, as if the people on the 14th floor don't know they're staying on the 13th floor. People don't want to stay on the 13th floor. Oh, we'll stay on the 14th floor. Let's see, go 12, 14. Wait a minute. I've been duped. That's funny. They also don't want to stay in room 13. I don't know, you guys. I'm not that silly. I believe in curses. I'm trying to keep myself and my family away from the curses that come with being in a family that hated God. Can you imagine? My grandpa hated God. Oops. I hope he got things worked out before he died. I would hate to think that he didn't come to some reconciliation with God before he died. That would be a horrible thing. Yeah. Ooh, oh well. All right, you guys, it has been a while. How long has it been? It's been an hour. Thanks for being here, you guys. Thank you to those of you who gave me a thumbs up. I am Nana. You're at Nana's Ranch. Lately, I've been going through my dad's coin collection. And, well, what's left of my dad's coin collection? Let's make it clear. My dad had some amazing coins in his collection. And my mother married a con artist after my dad died. And the con artist seems to have stolen my mom's or my dad's coin collection. I have what's left of his coin collection. It's the coins that weren't worth being in the main collection. They're in bags, they're in a box, they're just rustling around together. Had a bunch of Liberty silver dollars, a bunch of silver half dollars, going back quite a ways. One coin from 1707 that I found yesterday. It was a King George, I don't know which George, 1707. Some kind of a penny, pretty cool. Had an amazing collection. Let's see. The feathers and the babies. Well, thank you for asking, Dan. The ducks are fine. I have to clean out duck coops starting maybe this afternoon. Tuffy's coop needs to be cleaned out. And I think his is the only one that needs a full clean out, like way down to the conveyor belt floor. Sweep it, new litter, everything. His is the only one that needs a full clean out. But, and I'll be chasing all the ducks out to do that. Dave is going to help me because there's a lot I can do by myself. But this coop has, oh gosh, 3 weeks in it. And I've just been piling more litter on top. So it's kind of thick. It's going to be heavy. I can clean it, or I can haul the full wheelbarrow to the pile, but I can't do both. So in between cleaning it out, I need to rest. I can't have to walk it all the way down and then walk it back up and continue cleaning. So I can do one or the other, but I can't do both. So he's going to help me with that, I hope. If he doesn't help me, I won't be able to get the whole thing done. I guess I could fill up the big wheelbarrow, maybe. I've been doing the little one, so I do a lot of little trips when I'm doing it by myself. But maybe if he's there, I can just spend like an hour getting the big one filled up, and then he can dump it. When I dump the big one, it's just too heavy. So they're fine. The goats are fine. They are no longer locked in their barn at night because the bear is not coming back. The bear is gone. And little Miss Dixie is leaving the basement today, and she's going to go live in her kennel at the ranch. She'll be in a 6x12 chain link dog kennel with a travel kennel inside for her to go into. And that's where she'll be because we're leaving town in a few days and temperatures are going up. The other goats have their cashmere. They've got thick cashmere, I'll guarantee you. That just sprouts overnight whenever it gets real cold. They're walking around all fluffy and they're very cold. But they're capable of curling up in a ball in the barn and being toasty. They curl up together. Now, little Miss Dixie can't be with them. She's past her quarantine, so I know she's healthy, but she can't be with them yet because they're much bigger than her. They're very mean. They won't let her sleep with them. and they could actually hurt her. They could break some ribs. They could do some real damage to her. So she'll be running around in the forest with them, but she won't be sleeping with them. So I'm going to take her out. Dave will be home from church in, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes. And then we're going to talk about, it's got to be up in the high 30s for me to go do any coop cleaning. Low 40s preferably, please, please, please. Okay, you guys saw me almost die there. I'd like it in the mid 40s, please. We might get to 41. I don't know. It's going to be cold today. We'll see. So she's going to spend at least a couple of hours with them. She might be in the coop with me, hiding from them because they're going to be mean to her. But she should be able to run around with them. Eat some leaves, eat some trees, do what goats do. And then she'll be so sad. She's going to be so sad. Oh, God, poor baby. Dan, it was -8 here. No, it was -3 here last week with the wind chill. It was 8 degrees with a -3 for the wind chill. And it felt every bit of it. I don't go out when it's like that if I can possibly help it. Lately, it's been in the 20s with the wind chill knocking it quite a bit further down. And I don't always wear I'm in the house. It's in the 60s in the house. I'm comfortable. So I don't always put on my insulated bibs. And I regret it. I definitely regret it when that happens. I don't like cold temperatures. I still never found my heated jacket and my heated gloves. I haven't been through the pile downstairs. I've got a room downstairs that I just need to spend like 4 days cleaning and taking box after box after box to the AmVet thrift store or to the Salvation Army. Those are my 2 favorites. So I've got a lot that needs to be dropped off. And right now I only have 1 box filled. I've got 2 other boxes that are ready to go. I just need to go down there and start going through things. And it's kind of an emotional thing for me. Some of the stuff is stuff that I've collected with the intention of doing something else with it, like fabric, and I want to make a blanket. Well, I'm never going to make that blanket. So I just need to get rid of it. Some of it needs to be listed on eBay. Some needs to be packed up in another tub for another time. Once I clean that room out, then I've got to start going through tubs in another part of the basement. I've got to go through my mom's tubs. A lot of her stuff needs to be sold. And I've got a lot to do. Yeah, that's what I've got. And I got gloves. Dave gave them to me last Christmas because I was working outside last winter. I was doing some Hurricane Helene cleanup work, monitoring the cleanup workers. So I could be in my car for part of it, but I had to be outside for part of it as well. So he got me a heated jacket and gloves. That was awesome. Talk about a lifesaver, man. Loved that. But then I put them downstairs in the spring. Can't find them. All right, you guys. God bless you. I don't know if I'll be here next Sunday doing chapter 2 of Ruth. I might, but I'll be at a ministry event, so I might not be able to. And I'll be going to a house church, like I said before. Might be able to do it on Saturday. It just depends. It's a training is what it is for the ministry that we're involved in. We are chaplains for drag racing series. There are 2 series. I'm a volunteer assistant for 1 series, and Dave is a chaplain for 2 series. So he will be traveling for American Motorcycle Rights Association, AMRA, and he'll be traveling for IHRA, International Hot Rod Association, as well this year. I probably won't do much with the IHRA, but I will be doing stuff with AMRA. And then when DER's in town, I'll be here helping him out when they're at the Bristol Motor Speedway, well, at Thunder Valley Dragway. I'll be helping them out there, or Thunder Valley, Bristol Dragway. Got to get that right. So I'll be helping him out there. Thank you, Dan. You too. I'm sorry about your pipes. I'm sorry about the $85. That's awful. All right, guys. Adios. Hasta luego.